Okay. All right. So we are live, and you're still with me, right?
I am here. Can you see me?
Yeah. I'm just kind of getting a little feedback from my Facebook. Yeah. All right, everybody. I hope you guys are joining in live here with Dontell.
Yeah.
And we're here talking about his passion, his purpose, his career, the things that he is involved in, and some tips that he's going to share for those who are inspiring for the NBA. Being that Dontell Jefferson, he was a former NBA player. And so we're going to kind of get into the conversation. How did you get started? Did you always dream to be in the NBA?
Before I get that question, let me just say I want to thank you for granting me the opportunity to be on your show with you. And I want to try to be as transparent as possible as I can. So with that being said, actually, no. I grew up as a football player. My dad was a valedictorian in high school. He was a great football player in high school. And so I think just from birth, everybody kind of just figured I would play football. And then obviously I kind of joined football and I started playing football from like 5 until like middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time I got in high school, like it just totally changed. And then that's kind of where basketball kind of passion started kicking in. And yeah.
That is interesting. Sometimes, like what we expect for our lives, it's amazing how God sometimes will create a path that may be different from what we expected or what others may have expected for
Right. Right.
us.
Yeah. It was like I don't know, like me and my father didn't have the best, well, we really didn't have any relationship growing up pretty much. And then, I played basketball, but I didn't play organized until maybe 94. Um, and then by the time I got in high school, like, I used to watch college basketball all the time and I figured, like this is what I want to do in college. Um, and then as I got older, I realized, that was part of it. But the other part of the reason was I was always told like how good my dad is in football and I didn't want to be compared to him anymore. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was the NFL for me. That's all I wanted to do at one point, and then it drastically changed.
Wow, amazing. So, what was it like when you actually was in the NBA? Like when you were there, you got drafted. You're in this. How was it like? Was it something that's really fast paced or?
It was kind of surreal because I didn't take the traditional route a lot of dudes take. Like I wasn't drafted, um, and I spent 3 years working my way to the NBA. I started out in the what is called the G League now. It was the D League then. I did like 3.5 years there, and I went overseas for a year as well. So my journey was a little bit different. I call it the road less traveled at that time. But actually getting the call, knowing that I was getting ready to go to Charlotte, like I just remember calling my mom and crying over the phone. Um, and then I initially was pissed off because my agent woke me up out of my sleep and I had a game that day, and it was like 5 o'clock my time, and it was 7 o'clock on the East Coast. And so, just getting the call
Mhm.
was surreal, and then actually getting on the flight and then putting on my jersey for the first time in practice and things like that. It
Wow,
was
I can only imagine putting on that.
yeah, I didn't know, like I don't even think I felt anything. Like I wasn't nervous or anything. Like it just kind of felt natural.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, like it's hard to describe, all the work that I had put in from what I was a ninth grader up until that time. And I think I was 24, 25 by the time I got to the league. So it was just a bunch of emotions, that day of, and then, going through practice and in the first game and stuff like that.
Wow,
It's a
that's
big
so.
deal.
It was. I mean, I can only imagine that being a big deal, something that you worked hard, trained for, even though like you said, your story didn't start out like that,
Right.
What do you, well, what kind of tips do you want to share with those who are aspiring to kind of do the same thing? They have a passion for basketball, they have a passion for being in the NBA. What kind of tips that you can give to them?
Like my biggest thing now, and I kind of hit on it in my book that I wrote, is more about just being patient.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think we're in a time in society where a lot of things we want like instant gratification for things, and we want it now. And unfortunately, life doesn't work that way. Regardless if you're going to the NBA or you're trying to get a nursing degree, like whatever that looks like in your life, it usually doesn't come fast. And so just understanding patience, understanding there's going to be things that you are going to have to go through, and then realizing sometimes stuff just don't work out. And then how can you, pivot from that and move on and learn whatever you have to learn from that, and then apply it to whatever else, whatever else you may have going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
So being patient is probably like my biggest key and things that I've learned just throughout my journey, not only in basketball, but just in life in general.
That's good. I like that. Now you mentioned your book. What's the title of your book that you wrote?
So a book is called How to Make It to the NBA, and it's the 100% truth of coming from nowhere, having little to no scholarship, and still making it to the biggest stage in basketball. The title is so long. Um, it's so long just due to my story of getting to the NBA. Like I didn't have any scholarships coming out of high school except one, and that was to Morris Brown University. I turned it down to go to a junior college. And then I was born in a small town in South Georgia called Cordell, Georgia, where opportunities don't come often. Um, and my mom had a vision to want something better for not only me, but herself. She moved to Atlanta in '94, and that provided me, an opportunity to see different things. And that's kind of where I got introduced to organized basketball.
Wow.
So all of those things kind of led up to the title of the book, and I kind of want to incorporate, all of that so people can actually get a feel of what I've actually had to go through once they read it.
Can you tell them where they can get a copy? To all everyone who's joining on Facebook Live, if you haven't joined in now, and you might join in later, we want to let you guys know that he has a book, and he's going to share where you can go purchase his book.
Yes, I have it on Amazon. If you just search Dontell Jefferson in Amazon, it will be the first thing that comes up. Right now, the book is $20 and it ships directly to you. If you want to have a signed copy, you will have to message me personally on Instagram, and my Instagram is Dontell Jefferson, and I will sign the copy and mail it to you. Also, I'll put a note in there for your child or your daughter, your son, nephew, whomever.
That's
Um, and that's it.
I'm going to link all the information that you just said. I'm going to make sure I put it in the video after the video. So whoever sees this afterwards, or even when I, sometimes I'll actually get snippets of this and put it on IG. So I would always link and put your IG on there too, so they can follow you and things like that. In that book that you wrote, what led you to want to write that book? Like, what was the fire in you because to write a book, I'm a writer too.
Right.
Something has to move you to want to put words in a book or to write. And so you have to have a story that you are wanting to get out. So, what was that story? I mean, behind that passion that led you to writing the book?
Yeah, so one of my best friends, he was my college teammate and roommate. He was drafted by the Jazz, and his father used to do basketball camps. So naturally, as he made it during his time in the NBA, he would come and he took over the camp, and I would work it. So I had the idea where I wanted to do my own camp down in Cordell, right? And my Achilles heel was, or you could say kryptonite was, I would always compare what I wanted my success or my camp to look like to his.
Oh, okay.
And I figured for some reason I talked myself out of it. Like I felt like it wouldn't be as big as his, it wouldn't have a much of an impact as his would. And then, on the business side, I had trouble securing a gym with the school down there as well, but that's a totally different story. So I felt like the NBA was going into this the one and done trend, right? And I know for a lot of athletes, and if anybody like myself, like that's not reality.
Mm-hmm.
So matter of fact, I was going through a breakup at the time.
Uh-oh.
And I just came up with the idea of, I wanted to put my story out to change and let parents know there's different ways and different paths to get to the NBA. So I remember writing the outline in January 2012. And then maybe 4 months later, my best friend, who I went to high school with, helped the guy write and publish his book. He came to me and said, "Man, D, you should write a book, man. Like people need to know your story of, going to JUCO and only having one scholarship." He was like, "These kids, these parents need to see that." And I was like, "Well, man, I have an outline right now."
Mm-hmm.
And we literally,
that was a God thing.
yeah, we literally just kind of knocked it out. And so like that's kind of how it transpired.
Mm.
Yeah. So I guess you say 2015, 2015 or something. 2015, we started on my book, and then I finished it. 2018, released it.
And released it. That's good. I mean, to me, like when you said your friend he's the one that came to you about, I think you should write a book, right?
Yeah.
You had already had an outline to
me. Yeah, I already had an outline.
I always think that's a God moment. Sometimes the little cues, God will lead you, like, throw out little cues for you to do something. And a lot of times it be small things that become our purpose in life, You
Right.
never know. I mean, well, you probably know. I mean, when people get the book or kids get the book or adults get the book, what do they say? Like, hey, this really helped me, what are some of the things they say about the book once they have read the book?
Right. A lot of people, they are surprised that I actually took that route. And then didn't know that I only had one scholarship that I turned down. Obviously.
Yeah, I didn't know either. I'm thinking like, wow.
Yeah, it was only one. And then I had a kid in Europe read the book, and I remember him messaging me on Instagram telling me he got it, and then he said, once I finish up school here, like I'm gonna get to a JUCO, and he said, I think your book is gonna help me. And like a year later, I got a DM, and he said, I just signed my offer to go to a junior college. I appreciate you for writing this book. And then from the adults, I think it's more so just giving them an understanding of, what they can do to also achieve their dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember I had one young lady, she read the book. She was aspiring to be a high school basketball coach.
Okay.
And I think at that time she was kind of going through a transition where her current school wouldn't give her an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And she read the book, and she kind of just hinted at, this is putting me in a better position to actually go after being a coach, because she had just put it off for so long. That summer, she ended up finding a job in Atlanta being a high school basketball coach. So it hits everybody differently. And it just, it depends on your mindset and what things you're open to while you're reading, and how can you make it relatable to what you have going on in your life.
Great. What are you doing now when it comes down to basketball? How is I'm thinking that basketball is still a big part of your life right now.
Right.
Am I correct?
Yeah. So I actually, so I'm currently a dean of students at a STEM school here in Little Rock, Arkansas. Mm-hmm. I'm also the assistant basketball coach, and then I also put on my own basketball camp here. This year will be the third one that I put on. So I have those things going on. I've been public speaking for what 4 years now. Once I wrote my book, so I kind of go out to different schools um, and do motivational speaking and things like that at different organizations. So that's kind of where I am with basketball and what I have going on. Like I don't play as much just because I got burnt out by the time I retired.
That's like
Um,
the story, right?
yeah, just I was mentally drained and like
Oh,
I don't even have a desire to play really. The most I do is I play with our kids at the school, something like that. But I kind of get my satisfaction from seeing kids that I work with, seeing them do well. Obviously seeing people who read the book and that show their appreciation by telling me their thoughts, and then the kids that come to my camp.
it's
And
like
then
you're pouring in to the community. When I look at it, um, and I hear you even talking now, it's almost like now when you're on the other side of basketball, then I mean the other side of from being in the NBA, and then your pathway kind of turning, but your passion is still there for the sport, for the for the love of basketball, and now you're pouring. It's almost like you're giving back.
right.
All the lessons you learned, all the things, all the tips you have gained, you're pouring back, you're teaching, you're encouraging, especially for the youth, and encouraging that, hey, even if your situation look like this, check out my story. This is my story. Look how where I started, and then look where my pathway took me. So it's always, your story is very encouraging and motivating. So I really think that you pouring into the youth and adults by writing that book, it's a lot. That's good. It's a good thing to give back, to pour in to our community, to people, and let them know that, hey, if I came from this and I made it here, you can do the same.
Right. Yeah.
I got one question too. Another question. I'm smiling because
Yeah, you smile at it too. It's
because
quick.
you said I got burnt out in the NBA. Do you not tell some of the kids or the young people that are going, like even the teenagers or the younger, 18, 19, 20-year-olds that are headed that direction, and people that are probably close to you, do you tell them some of the things, especially in the dating world, if you're single, the women, like,
Yeah. Yeah, I hint on that in the book. Like I got asked by a student yesterday. Um, she was like, "What happened with basketball?" I was like, "How you know I played?" She was like, "Well, because we Googled you in class." I was like, "So y'all in class Googling?" But now she was like, "What happened?" I said, "Well, like I got burnt out mentally." I said, "I played professionally for 12 years. I finished up in Saudi Arabia, um, and then just the way things were going at the time, um, it's kind of late with the money and things like that. And then it became more so a job instead of me just having fun like I had been before. And I was just kind of burnt out, like just mentally burnt out. And I tell people that had I been in Europe, it might have been a little different. Um, but at that time, it was just like, man, like
you had enough of
yeah, it is like I'm not finna put up this no more. Like I just go home. Like I had a book coming out, so I thought I had it figured all out, and then life happens. Yeah, yeah, throw your curveball, and it's like, oh no, this not it. I gotta find something else.
I gotta do something else.
Yeah,
That's real. That's real talk.
yeah. So I try to share with them as much as possible that I can, and kind of let them know like it's not all what you see on Instagram. And a lot of people share, you know, that part, but don't talk about everything else that kind of goes on as far as business wise, and the time that you lose and time that you have to sacrifice family and stuff like that.
When you were, let me say it like this. How did you date? Like, was it crazy? Did you meet a lot of people that were not, or even, even now, like, did you meet a lot of people that were not for your good, had the wrong motives when it come down to women?
Um, I don't think so. Like I've usually been a pretty good judge of character.
So
Like
you've been in
obviously,
that situation before.
yeah, obviously, I mean, you don't go into situations thinking, this is gonna happen.
Mhm.
Um, but what, three, three, three relationships like that time I was playing. Um, and they were all like great relationships. They just didn't work. Just didn't work. Yeah. So no, I never really got the stereotypical,
Yeah.
women chasing you, things like that. Um,
It
for
is.
me. Yeah, I never got it. But I have friends that like I got asked by one of my friends. He said, "Man, like D, why the girls always asking me for money?" I said, "Man, like I don't know, like what you putting on Instagram? You get what I'm saying?
That's
Like
good. That's good. That's
I don't
really
like I don't know." So
good.
I've never really gotten approached like that. And then like I said, I've usually been a pretty good
Mhm.
judge of character, so I
No, that's good.
don't really
No,
know.
that's a good thing. It doesn't,
Yeah,
hey, if it's not bad, you hadn't had any bad experience, especially when you were in the NBA and all that good stuff. That's a good thing. So
yeah.
you're a good judge of character. And what would you say about now, like when you're for young people that are like pursuing that career and things have kind of changed now in 2022. What do you say about to the young men? Do you have any tips that you normally share with them? Like, hey, y'all, once you get in the NBA, try to, these are some things you need to stay away from. Stay focused. Be
Yeah.
balanced.
Yeah, I think like there was a point where I went out a lot. Um,
Oh, really? You don't
yeah,
look. You
and
look
it
so
was
innocent.
like it was crazy. Like it was a point where I didn't go out, right? And then there was a time where like I would go out, and
Mhm.
then and so like for instance, I think it was a point in time I was in Charlotte. Like I went out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? But I would work out Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And then I would go home and look at what I spent in the bar. It's like, man, like what, like why am I doing this? And I'm by myself. Cause
Mhm.
I literally would go out by myself.
In terms of
Um,
who's getting lit. No, I'm just
yeah,
joking.
nah, I wasn't getting lit, but I mean, I did go have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so like, I did that, and then obviously, if I did anything, like it'll just be real super chill. Like I go eat
Mhm.
and maybe have drinks and go home. Kind of what I do now. But like I don't know. Like I'm a big advocate of enjoying your fruits of your labor.
Yeah, me too. Me
Yeah, like I'm a huge advocate of that. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with doing it in moderations.
balance and
And
everything.
then knowing who you have around you. For instance, like if you know you grew up with him and he got a quick temper, if you take him with you, you probably want to make sure somebody watching him at all times.
Or
You get
where
what I'm
you
saying?
going, what type of
Yeah,
environment you go to. Yeah.
yeah. Because if something happens, he gonna get in trouble, but your name gonna be in the paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you get what I'm saying? Like and especially now, like it's gonna be posts with you on there, and your boy the one that kind of got you in this situation.
Pulled you into
Um,
the drama. Yeah.
yeah. So enjoy the fruits of your labor, do the moderations, and just be mindful of your surroundings at all times. Who you hang with. Like my circle is small. Like I have a handful of friends that I talk to every day. I have maybe like two friends that I still speak to from high school. No, so my circle is super small. Um, so like that's kind of like I live kind of like in a box, and then when I feel like getting out of it, I get out of it and then I go right back in it.
um, have you experienced any challenges like in this season that you're in now, balancing like because you just listed all the things that you're doing now. And when you said that you are a dean of a private school or
Charter school.
private school,
Yeah.
and you also you speak, you're a public speaker. How do you balance? And wait a minute, let me get that right. Hold on. You also have a basketball camp.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Am I right?
Correct.
How do you balance all of that? Like, this is what you're doing now. That's a lot.
Yeah. So, I actually I speak, but I pull back from speaking.
Okay.
Just because I'm in the building so much, and it's kind of hard to kind of get away. But while I was doing it, like I think just being able to manage my time wisely is the best thing, and I've always been pretty good at doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of it. The people that help with my basketball camp, that like they do a great job in helping me putting it together, and so I kind of let the people that do things well that I don't do well, like just let them handle it and oversee it. And that way I'm not wearing myself thin and things like that.
That makes sense. I like that. A lot of entrepreneurs and people that are in different careers, sometimes we can get so overwhelmed because we don't do that. Mm-hmm. So that's you do that. You balance everything off in every area of your life. Seem like it. So that's a good quality, good thing. What are some of the things that you want to share before we wrap up? Is it any future things that you are planning to do in the future that you might want to share, or any tips or anything that you want to share before we go?
I just challenge everybody to be their authentic self. I always be open to change, and learning new things and new ideas. Like I'm big on listening to understand instead of listening to speak. And I feel like a lot of us do that. We listen and we hear somebody, then our first reaction is to say something back regarding what they said instead of understanding what was said and process it, and then speak from a place of understanding and not being on the defense. Wow. And that's something that I had to learn myself, as I got older. And I think that's pretty much it. I do plan on speaking at different organizations in the near future. So if anybody's watching, if y'all have a youth group or you're a principal or whatever the case is, and you're watching this, or a principal, feel free to shoot them my information or find me on any of my social media, and reach out. That's it.
That's good. Like I said, I wanted you on my show because I kind of knew a little bit backstory about you, just a little bit. And I think that, like I said, balancing everything and like you said about your path, having an expectation on something, and then watching. And I always, like I say, I know that it's a God thing to me. I always believe it's not just something that we just do this for nothing. I believe when God gives you something inside of you, you don't know why you have it sometimes, but it's always a God thing. He will take something and I'm trying to say, he will actually change what you may think you want or you might plan into something that you actually is your purpose, like right. What you're doing now. So I thank you for being on the show, and I'm excited for what God has for you in the future. Yeah, we got to stay in touch. We got to do this again.
Appreciate it. Yeah, man. And just to hit on your point one last time, like I feel like, and if people get the book, they'll see it. Like I had these goals written down in high school, and it was to go get a scholarship to the University of North Carolina, because that's what I wanted to go to school. Mm-hmm. I wanted to lead my county in scoring. I wanted to lead. What else? Dang, I done forgot all the goals just that quick. UNC, lead the county scoring, win the state championship, and there's one other one. Oh, I played in the NBA.
Wow.
I only achieved one. I only achieved one. I didn't lead the county in scoring, I didn't go to North Carolina, and I did not win a state championship. And like what I see, you know, from a lot of, you know, just students that I'm around is, you know, when things happen, like they shut down and don't know what else to do. And I think we need to make sure that they have a safe space to know that it's okay when things don't work out and still continue to move forward. Like it is fine if you don't get that first job or your dream job right now. You know, it is like, it's okay. You can go somewhere else and build your skills, and maybe 4 or 5 years later, that job will be there, or that dream job will be at a different company. You know what I'm saying? So I think like that is what I kind of want to leave with.
That's good.
Yeah.
You just said so much that made me think of other things. I'm like, well, I'll have you here all day. So good, because I'm like, that's exactly what I was thinking this morning. I actually put it on my post about even when things that you are expecting, it doesn't happen the way you were expecting it to happen, that it's okay, you know, just like what you just said. So I'm glad you hit on that. I'm glad you were speaking to those out there, especially the young people. And it's very important because we have a lot of young people. When I say young people, especially the ages between the teenagers and the young adults, they're actually killing themselves because of what we're talking about. It didn't happen the way we wanted. I'm tired of this life. And a lot of them are achieving big things and still feel like it's not good enough.
Yep.
And so I'm glad you hit on that. I hope whoever is watching this is encouraged, especially hearing your story, especially what you just shared with us. And I hope they're encouraged. I hope they know that, hey, I'm going to keep moving. Even if things may change, I'm just going to keep doing what what's in front of me. You know, I'm not going to stop.
Right.
I'm not going to feel. I'm going to keep going. You know, that's what I did. I wrote a book. I thought it was going to be like money in my account really quick.
I second that.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I second that. Me too.
Yeah, you know, the guys who can rap and sing and they push their CDs back in the days. Remember those CDs they want to sell?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, probably like 2 years later, they're like, you know, they got a deal.
Yeah.
The books, I don't know.
It's a little different. It's totally different. Like I remember when MySpace first happened, and I got a request, and I was like, who is this? But like a year later, the dude was on the radio and he had all this pub. It was Plies.
Wow.
I said, man, like what is this? Yeah. Yep. A year later, like he was all over the radio.
So I'm thinking maybe, you know, the platform with us books, you know, when those who are writing books and we have a story to tell, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, I hope I'm kind of seeing some changes now. Yeah. And like you're doing, you go out and speak, and that's how people know who you are. And plus being out of the NBA and telling them your story, they can hear your story, put your book in their hands, and they get to go home with it. So I think it's good that speaking platforms exist, that we can use any platforms to kind of let people know who we are and what our story is about, what book we wrote.
Yeah, and you know, if we could change one life, we could change many. So we got to reach that one person.
Yes.
Good.
Well, I'm so happy you even showed up and came and spoke. Like I said, those who might are watching us right now, I hope you guys can leave a comment. Go and follow him on IG. Message him if you have any questions about some of the topics and things that we're talking about, and actually go purchase his book. Especially those who are passionate about basketball, passionate about the sport. It's not just basketball. It for so many of you guys, it's called love and basketball, right?
Yeah, it's life.
Yeah,
it's life. No matter what you have going on, everybody has the NBA in life. My NBA just happened to be, you know, the NBA, but your NBA can be something totally different. And that is whatever you see fit to have as your goals and aspirations.
That's good. All right. Well, hey, we have to do this again. You
Sure.
take care of
Anytime.
yourself, and I'm actually gonna have to get the book because I know a lot of young men in my family would love to read your book.
Okay, cool.
All right. You take care.
All right. Thank you
Have
for
a
having
good
me on.
week. What were you gonna say?
Thank you for having me on as well. I appreciate it and giving me this platform to share a little bit about my story, share my information about my book. I really appreciate what you got going on.
You're welcome. You're
Yeah.
welcome. All
Yeah.
right. You take care.
All right, now have a good one.